One time James Hart got so mad. We had Nate Robinson on the team. They used to always play around. We all at practice. We wondering when Nate at. Nate runs into James' car, drive his car all the way around the corner, park it at the car wash. Ain't tell nobody. He taking pictures, ghost riding his joint on top of the hood. Ain't tell nobody. We walking in the locker room. James like, yo, where my keys at? He's steaming, ready to fight Nate almost. I'm like, it was hilarious. It was the first time anything happened. I'm like, yeah, these boys are different in the league, especially dudes like Nate.
Where were you when you found out you had been traded?
I was watching Equalizer 2. I had just left and I was going to get something to eat, and I had made the phone call back, and that's when I got the word. I talked to the man, he told me. I just hung up the phone. I remember I was in the car, and I just told the dude, pull the car over, and I just got up, walked down the street. I think I sat in front of El Taco or Jack in the Box or something for like 40 minutes. I just couldn't believe it, because 2 days prior, we had a conversation about running this whole thing back. That's what made it more surprising. When it hit, that lost feeling. All right, what now? I don't know what to do. Anybody know in Toronto, I was willing to lay it all out for it to happen like that. It definitely sucked. Emotionally, I was invested, because that's all I knew. Toronto was all I knew at that point. You understand it's part of the game, part of the business, and nobody exempt from that happening. It took a while, probably after the bubble, but it got to a point to where you gotta respect it.
This is one of the most damaging moments for a team in NBA history.
Him trying to get away, James holding it, offensive foul! They call an offensive foul!
D Rose crosses him on Shumpert, ties the game with 11 seconds left.
It's good! James to the basket, puts it.
LeBron shoves Jimmy Butler. What a hard ass.
James for the win. It's gone. LeBron James stuns the Chicago Bulls.
This shot decided the series and ended the Derrick Rose era. LeBron James killed the Chicago Bulls.
First time you met Kareem?
Yeah, it wasn't a good time.
Oh, was it?
I need you to confirm a story for me.
Sure.
Charles at the All-Star game, he says...
At the All-Star game, all the guys get together in the room beforehand, just as before they announced it to the crowd. So Kareem is sitting in the corner.
He says you were in the locker room reading a paper.
I'm with like Bird, McHale, and Karl Malone, and I said, I never met Kareem before. They're like, go over and say hello to him. And he's sitting over in the corner by himself with his head down.
It's his first time seeing you, and he said, Mr. Abdul-Jabbar.
Mr. Jabbar, can I talk to you? He looks up, I'm reading.
I told him I was reading.
Yes.
I turn around, these fools laughing at me. They set me, they're on the floor dying laughing.
So that's the true story?
There was times I just couldn't be bothered, man.
Right. I trust me.
Now
First game I played against Jose Calderon. Never the superstar in the league. There's always somebody in Cleveland. Jose Calderon bust my ass. He gave me 26 and 14. Yo, he was fucking celebrating like a motherfucker. I was sick. I had 6 and 6 that night. I was like, yo, this motherfucker. We played against Toronto that next year. That's when I hit that game winner. Every time I see you when he was in New York, it was personal every time after that show.
I seen what his mind was doing from day one. He did play chess mentally. We used to go play cards at his house, and he'd sit on the couch. His TV setup was like a bar. You're just watching games, watching films. Going into that series, we got outsmarted by somebody we didn't really think about. We didn't know how intelligent, how he moved pieces around. When he wanted to attack, he pulled his center, so we pull our center. Now our backup is smaller than LeBron. So now when LeBron goes to the basket, no one's there to protect the rim. That's when he just drove, didn't even think about taking a jump shot. We didn't actually understand what was going on until after.
People forget Lonzo Ball had the greatest NBA debut ever. They put this poor kid on prime time to get bullied by Patrick Beverley. Just 3 minutes into the game, Pat goes right up to him and says, "You b***." Pat Bev even hit a 3 in Lonzo's face and says, "You can't see me." LeVar also claimed Lonzo was dropping 30 before the game. Here's what he had to say after.
You had some explaining to do. You said it was going to be a great opening night.
It was a great opening night.
What? How? Explain.
Big Baller brand went up 12%. It's always good. Even when you lose, I win.
Wise words of LeVar Ball.
Big Baller brand, we here to stay.
I was talking shit to him in preseason. I didn't know that they don't play in preseason. I'm killing him. Had about 21. He played about 7 or 8 minutes. Then all of a sudden, we got to play him in the first game regular season. He come to Seattle. First thing he get on the floor, he was like, Pip, Armstrong, young fella, he mine all night. And he bust his ass all night. And he's like, this ain't preseason. You know what I'm saying? Man, he remember this. And I get quick 2 fouls in 4 minutes, man. I sit down at 35, 7, 10. I'm over there with no
Chewing that gum,
chewing that gum. After the game, he was like, welcome to the NBA.
If the inside the NBA team was doing a group project, which member of this cast would you least like to have help you out?
Shaq. Or Kenny. Either, both. I don't want to work with Kenny or Shaq in any capacity on anything serious.
We have a group project every night that we're on the air. So we joke and say we wouldn't want to work with Kenny or Shaq.
Oh, I'm not joking.
So if we were going to do a class project, it depends on what the project is, but there are certain areas where Shaq would excel, certain areas where Kenny would excel.
Which one?
Well, it depends on what the project is.
One guy, I'm going to have to work half the time I'm at the hookah bar. The other guy, I don't know if he's going to show up half the time.
I think you make very valid points. I retract everything I said going in.
The highest jumpers in NBA history. Number 5 is James White. He was the 31st overall pick in the 2006 NBA draft, and he had a 46-inch vertical. He stood at 6'7", so when he jumped, he was able to get his head 5 inches above the rim. Number 4 is Spud Webb. Spud is the shortest player on this list, only standing at 5'6", but he had a 46-inch vertical, and he's the shortest player to ever win a dunk contest. Number 3 is Jason Richardson. Richardson barely beats out Spud Webb with a vertical of 46.5 inches, and he won 2 NBA dunk contests. Number 2 is Darrell Griffith. Griffith is tied for the highest jumper in NBA history, and his nickname is Dr. Duncanstein. And number 1, the highest jumper in NBA history is Michael Jordan. With a nickname like Jumpman, you could see how MJ's the highest jumper in NBA history. But these are...
Braun to the Warriors is something people are talking about. Now, I know what you're saying. Come on, Colin. Did you have a daiquiri before the show? Come on. You know that deep breath I told you to take? Take another one. We looked it up this morning. Wiggins, Kuminga, and Jordan Poole. It works. Think it's crazy? You could talk yourself into that. The Warriors, here's 2 things we know about them. They are into winning now. That's why they bailed on Weissman. That's why Kuminga doesn't play. They're into winning now. By the way, Draymond, Clay, Steph, LeBron, Looney. That's arguably better than the team they had now. And Rui, Reeves, AD, Wiggins, Poole, Kuminga.
We both go to Nike. They signed Michael and they signed me. And Michael gave me some great advice one time. He says, hey man, why you need all that money? I said, dude, what you talking about? He says, I was looking at your contract. You're making about $3 million. Tell Nike you want $1 million and you want the rest in stock options. And I said,
thank you, Michael.
Okay, I'll run it by my guys. He says, that's a good idea if they're going to be great. I says, this dude's the greatest basketball player I've ever seen. Let's do it.
Or just do it.
I actually made probably 10 times the amount of money, and I'm still with Nike to this day.